Today we're going to be going through the bow and arrow exercise. This is a great way to improve trunk rotation, and we're going to begin by focusing on the coordination of the movement in the trunk as opposed to adding resistance, which would target more muscular strength. To perform this exercise, hold your hands out in front of you, almost like you're holding onto a bow and arrow. Then you're going to draw back with one arm, but the movement's happening in your trunk, not just with the shoulder. So you're drawing back, twisting through your trunk to one side. Now you can perform this exercise through the allocated sets and reps on one side at a time and then change to the other side, or you can alternate from side to side. I don't think it really matters. Keep your head in line with your chest, or another way to think about it is your nose directly in line with your sternum. So as you twist to one side, the movement is occurring in your trunk and your head is following your trunk. The reason we start this exercise seated is to remove the need for you to think about keeping the hips straight. When we're learning a new movement, we prefer to have you think about where the movement's going to be rather than flooding you with information about what not to do. Once you grasp this exercise seated and you've got a good feel for trunk or thoracic rotation, we will progress to doing it standing up. Now it becomes important to think about the movement in your trunk rather than having you twist through the pelvis. One analogy I like to think about is as though you've got two headlights in the front of your hips and they're going to be shining forward the whole time. And then the movement is exactly the same as before. Just like you're holding onto that imaginary bow and arrow, keeping those hips straight and pulling back, twisting through the trunk. Still keeping your head in line with your sternum. After you've been doing this exercise for a few weeks, it's a good idea to add a bit of resistance, such as an exercise tube. Just hold the tube in your hands and you're going to be performing exactly the same movement as before. So the three common mistakes people make is that they'll do the exercise and just completely turn their neck. So they'll be pulling around and looking around over their shoulder really early with their neck, or they might not turn their neck at all. The other thing people will do is they'll just perform the movement at the shoulder. So the shoulder joint is copying all the load. And the last thing people will do is open up through the pelvis. So just like this. So the trunk isn't even moving at all. It's simply just twisting through my hips. Now there will be times that will allow you to open up through the pelvis. We might want to engage the entire kinetic chain. In fact, we might even have you stand in a split stance and really draw back through your entire body. It's just that for the purpose of developing a coordinated trunk rotation, we want to have you think about isolating the movement to this area. So to recap, you're drawing back on the arrow, turning the front of your chest to one side, rotating through the trunk, whilst keeping the rest of your body in alignment. Enjoy this exercise and be sure to reach out if you have any questions.